to call this special 520 meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees to order, and this is a pretty exciting 520 meeting. Usually our meetings don't have this many people, so welcome to all of you. This is an exciting time for us. We get the opportunity to swear in 4 new leaders in our fire department, and I'm going to actually turn that over now to Chief Schallenberger.
Thank you. Well, good evening, and obviously they've got a big crowd here. A lot of families have attended to support their son this evening, and I want to thank the trustees and the other administrator and the department heads and the clerk for letting us have the meeting tonight and hold it here. So might need a bigger room next time if we get this many. So I do appreciate that. So as our fire department continues to expand to meet service needs of the township, we needed to expand levels of supervision, as we are a 365-day year, 24-hour/7 service. And we need to grow future leaders. The lieutenants are a backbone of our organization at the task level every day. So whether it's ambulance calls, fire calls, between the firefighters and them, that's our bread and butter people. So we need to have quality people in those positions so we can extend the services that we offer. So they represent the things that's in our vision as compassion, honesty, and integrity, and to provide the best service that we can on a daily basis. When we read our mission statement, and they'll laugh because it was part of their written test, they had to write that down, it has some of those same words in it. So that's something we've done since the history of this fire department, is provide good quality service with compassion, honesty, and integrity every day. The 4 firefighters that are going to be promoted to lieutenant tonight are Jim Russell, Brandon Ogden, Adam Farley, and Ben McGee. They all went through a written testing process, which included an interview and situational fire training. So we had a screen where they had to go through a scenario where they were in charge to get to this accomplishment. So they had a lot of things to study for. We actually progressed with a book this time that they had to study ahead of time to take the written test. So we've kind of changed our program a little bit, and I think we've shown that we've got 4 quality candidates for lieutenants, and they got that promotion. Deputy Chief Reed and Kraft also gave them high recommendations. Deputy Chief Reed was involved with all the interviews and all the process for testing. Chief Kraft gave him a thumbs up from training and his side of the coin. So we are a very oriented place that, that is a big part of our organization on a daily basis. So if we don't train good and have good leaders in those positions to train, we can't keep making our fire department grow. I'm proud that we're going to be able to promote them, and as Trustee Saban would say, I was able to be in the hiring process when they first started. So it's kind of a change for me that I wasn't the guy that was afterwards. So we actually hired them, and now we're promoting them up through the ranks. I believe these lieutenants will help us move forward in the fire department and complete more efficiency for our department. I'm going to turn it over to the trustees now to actually do the swearing in for the oath. And again, congratulations from me and Chief Reed and Chief Kraft. So he could not be here tonight. I thought he was going to be close, but he did wish congratulations.
So we need you 4 to come up here. And I think you want them lined up this way, so it's going to go this direction. So make no mistake, as the chief said, this just didn't happen by accident. They've all earned this spot for all those reasons that the chief explained. But what's nice about this is we have a whole bunch of people in this room, including people that I've had the honor to promote in the back of the room, as well as families. And make no mistake about that, you as families have had a huge programming influence on the reason these are all standing here. So you have an ever so slightly small part, because it's like we say to our students at the college, we can help you, we just can't do it for you, okay? So it's certainly my honor to be able to do this, because everybody's excited that this is taking place. So with that, it's time to get you guys sworn in, okay? So if you would raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Henry Robinson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution,
the Constitution,
laws and resolutions
laws and resolutions
of the United States,
of the United States,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
and Plain Township.
and Plain Township,
And I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge my duties as a lieutenant
discharge my duties as a lieutenant
of the Plain Township Fire Department,
of the Plain Township Fire Department,
protecting life and property,
protecting life and property,
respecting the rules,
respecting the rules,
regulations,
regulations,
and policies
and policies
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
Let me be the first to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Happy good luck. Thanks, Chief. Good luck. All right, so if you three maybe want to sit down, and we'll start with Jimmy because somebody's going to pin you, right?
Yep.
Who's coming up? Okay, who's coming up?
We are coming up.
Ah, excellent. Good, good, good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, anybody that wants to come up and snap pictures from any angles, please do that, please.
Josie. Josie.
Where's the IT guy?
It's not a high school, we can take some
No,
pictures.
you better go ahead. So once again, thank you all for coming. This has been especially a pleasure for them. It's exciting for us, so I'll turn it over to the chief.
Just, again, congratulations. I appreciate all the family being here. As we grow, you know, we're over 50 employees now, full-time and part-time. So, looks like the kids' Christmas party here today. We got kids everywhere. So, you know, it's good to see everybody here in attendance, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure these guys do too. So, thanks again for coming. We could take, if there's other pictures, anybody wants to take, we can do that before everybody leaves. And, you know, so you got a half an hour here.
We got plenty of time, so.
And, so those we received on December 7th at the fire station. And then, item number 3 is the actual, contracts and paperwork for each, for the bidder, the lowest responsible bidder. So I can read that for you. Item number 3, whereas the Plain Township Board of Trustees were awarded a FEMA AFG grant with guaranteed funds to amount of $86,182 for the installation of a diesel capture exhaust system. Now therefore be it resolved that the Plain Township Board of Trustees be award the 2018 diesel capture exhaust system to Hastings Air Energy Control as the lowest responsible bidder at the following price of $116,307.18. And we broke it up with 2 different funds there.
I'll move on fire number 3.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion.
Yeah, I enclosed some pictures there. Through the FEMA process, it has to be a direct capture system to be qualified. These are the only 2 vendors that bid that, you know, that met that qualification. We had a base bid of just putting a system in and giving us some options of some slide rails for back in versus drive-through and et cetera. So some of the stations are drive-through, some of them are only back in. From the picture of the one there, it actually has an actual magnet that attaches to the truck versus pins and et cetera. And that we felt was a safer alternative, so you didn't have to bend as much and et cetera when you hook those up. Station 3 has all back-in facilities, so they'll all be identical. Station 2 has drive-through capability. And so we have 2 rail systems installed there, and then also at Station 4 we have a drive-through facility. So,
Would this be very similar to what we'll have at our,
I'll say
this
it
one
again.
picture here, would this be very similar? 3
The
vehicles lined up?
That, actually, the Station 4 will be like that, only have 2 hookups, because there's 2 vehicles that go through. And then the other one will have just 1 hookup, because there's just 1 vehicle.
Someone asked some stupid questions. If you get a call right now, how does this uncouples, but does this thing expand upward, but how do the vehicles not hit those coming out?
They stay in line with the rail. Basically, when they come to the door, they disconnect, and
They
they,
drop straight down, they don't swing and come out in front of the, because these can crash vehicles.
so, and the one company that has the kind of that black bumper thing there, that was part of their thing, because it does actually, you know,
They just come straight down and they just come out. You know what I'm saying? That's a tough question, but those,
No, it's not a
those
tough
were
question,
hanging and you drive
because,
it, this
yeah.
hits and scratches, I don't know.
We have shorelines too,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not quite as big as this, but, you know, they actually pop out magnetically with a little spring-loaded device. And then, you know, the shoreline that keeps the battery charged, it kind of hangs there as well, but, you know, it's a pretty good design. They have these in not only fire stations, they have them all over the country, but fire stations are becoming more popular because of the awareness of diesel and how it contributes with its carcinogens for
Yeah.
cancer. So,
I'm anxious to see those when those are put in.
okay. So we need roll call?
Mr. Lino,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And then, scroll down, there's a lot of paperwork that goes with that. Item number 4. Alright, so item number 4 is, whereas the Plain Township Board of Trustees have awarded the bid for the diesel capture system to Hastings Energy, now therefore be resolved, the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County authorize the execution of the contract to Hastings Air Energy for the 2018 diesel capture system, and the language in the contract incorporated by references is fully written with here.
I'll move on FD number 4. And moved and seconded discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And item number 5 is a tuition reimbursement. Resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to grant the request for tuition reimbursement to the following employees to authorize payment to the amount not to exceed $1,000 to Joe Gladys and Eric Wiedelbacher according to collective bargaining agreement provision 27, section E.
I'll move on FD number 5. Second. Been moved and seconded discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 6, resolution to accept the resignation of Rebecca Lemon as the Plain Township Fire Department Executive Assistant effective December 28, 2018.
Also move.
Second.
And moved and seconded discussion. That's kind of bittersweet for her. She's pretty passionate about the work that she does and where she's going to be going, and I know it was tough for her to leave. And,
quite frankly, she elevated the level of what the executive administrative support assistants were
Absolutely.
in the township, so they were
Very
very
good.
good felt.
Very good worker, great person.
so, yeah, so now we have to fill a void, and we're going to do that next,
Okay,
right?
so for item number 7, resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County Hire to extend the offer of employment to.
Whoa. Don't we have to,
Yeah, you have
Oh, I'm
to,
sorry.
you have to go through,
Yeah.
you
we
have to
have
go
to do
through that.
the roll call?
Yeah.
We still haven't, sorry, Chuck.
Yeah, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
See, that's because you didn't want to do it.
That's right. Yeah, it's Freudian.
Yes.
So number 7 would be the offer to extend employment to Vicki Lloyd as position of Executive Assistant for the Fire Department effective 12/30 of 2018 and authorize the pay rate from Fund 10A, 10C with benefits according to the current Plain Township Employee Handbook.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded discussion.
Well, we always like to look internally to see if somebody would like to change a position, step up to a different position, and that's what happened in this case. So the next void to be filled will be for zoning.
Yeah, this came up kind of quick, and I just want to say I appreciate you guys and the professionalism that you guys, realizing that obviously you needed somebody. It was kind of opened up. She thought it would be a good fit for her. Tom's losing somebody. You guys got together, worked out a deal that, you know, she's going to be on a learning curve, but when Tom's replacement comes in, she's going to come back and help with that process. So, you know, we don't always get that kind of cooperation internally in a lot of places, but, you know, I just appreciate you guys seeing that and doing that, because, you know, that's why we're able to function the way we are, so.
It was Chuck that held me up with the fire hose.
Yeah.
I think it's on surveillance. Eric, can you pull that footage?
Yeah. Okay, having said that, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Thanks, Chuck. That's it.
Yep.
Takes us to road, Mr. Iacino.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 1 is the monthly report for November.
I think so. Yep, next.
Item number 2, I'm going to turn over to Captain Haynes. We
Show you guys a video.
recently installed 2 dry wells on 49th Street off of Linford.
So what this is, I guess while we're getting ready, we purchased the new camera. Is that what this is gonna be?
This actually was
The drywall.
It's just a picture.
Well, that's a video.
from the drone,
Yeah, oh, okay, from the
not from the
drone.
pipe.
Yeah,
2 days worth of work with the road crew, basically brought down into 5 or 6 minute video.
okay.
I spoke too close.
Whoops.
I'd have to speak James Stecker in case anybody does ground.
Or just a song that has rain in it, 'cause
Yeah.
it's dry.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. You just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again.
What level that is.
Been walking my mind to an easy time. My back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. But it's ours the time on the telephone line to talk about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again now. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around now.
That's day 2 then.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big
The
waves
other one you're doing?
Second day.
ocean.
Oh, that's the pipe that's going
Like
in?
how a single
Oh, you
word
had to take that across the
can make a
road.
heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion.
What's that?
And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my
You cut a
brain.
square?
I'll scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Remember my song.
Steamroller.
Yes, believe.
It's not falling.
All those things I didn't say, wrecking walls inside my brain. I'm screaming out today. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Remember my song. My power's turned off. Stop me right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion.
Big
Like
man
how
just
a
showed up.
single word can make a heart open.
He said,
And I only have one match, but I can make it explode.
that's a nice job, man.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Remember right song. My power's turned off. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. No, I've still got
That's a
that
nice job.
fight left
That's really
in
nice.
me.
They did a.
That's a really
Thank you,
good
Aaron.
job.
Pretty good.
Nice job, Eric. That was really good, Eric. Wow.
So then those two are interconnected, so obviously whatever level one is at, the other one will be at.
Exactly. And they'll slowly leach out.
Yeah, yeah.
Over time.
Very
We've
similar
had
to 21st
great,
Street.
yeah, we've had good success with that.
20.
Now, this ground wasn't as good as that ground over on 25th Street, but it'll serve the purpose until our Linford project moves up to that point where we can tie those right into the Linford storm drain.
That's a good job.
So it'll be two
A couple
full.
years away,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Nice job, Eric.
yeah.
The crew did a great job. I mean, they were amazing to actually watch,
Yeah.
get through. I got to spend quite a bit of time with them on
Nice to
those
see
2 days.
those
They're
guys.
very efficient.
I can see using the equipment that we
Yeah,
buy.
yeah.
There's the purpose why we
Use
buy
it all,
it.
we use it all. Okay, item number 3, trustee Haas.
Yeah, guys, we got emailed to us about a week ago from Dana at ODOT District 4, an update on the whole Route 62 realignment from east of Market to just before the overpasses by Case Farms. They had called me today asking if we had any concerns, questions, or feedback. I mean, I think is some individual sidebar conversations. You know, we've all noted that they took into account from the last public hearing some adjustments to the fencing for the sake of visibility to businesses and so forth have been accommodating. I think they've changed one or two of the, what was like a cul-de-sac or to the hammerheads. And just looking to see if there's anything that I need to pass along.
I think they added right in, right outs, or
Correct.
positive also.
Yes.
I know Tom and I had met with Leyland Motors and ODOT, and they were pretty adamant about not having that wall in front of their property, and that's, should keep them there. That definitely worked well.
You know, so far, if they just continue to do that type of thing, I don't know that we can ask for any better cooperation from any other governmental entity.
Seriously, they've been very cooperative.
We spent a lot of time looking at that print, talking to our residents, listening to them, having feedback from each other. We spent time here looking at that, and we created that long list of items about what was important, from public safety to noise factors, to convenience or inconvenience for our residents. And then we had another session, and then we had some other issues, just like the one you said about the wall, that could impact one of the businesses there with their signage.
Sure. You could've
We had
lost
another
business.
business that it was, their access was almost totally cut off. Now we see that there's some connection there. You know, just from my perspective, and we've all talked about that, and I think we all agree that it's probably one of the better projects we've seen where they've actually listened to our feedback.
Yeah.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
think Tom raised a good point. You know, where you come in, there's that access road back into Leyland. Essentially, there's gonna be vacated space there, proposing to him to see if, get that planted for aesthetics in there. And that was just one comment, but overall, I mean, it's still continued positive
Right.
progress.
Absolutely.
I would just say that when you make contact back with us, kind of echo those remarks that, you know, we're just happy they listened to us on actually quite a bit of those issues.
Yes, they do.
Okay, thanks. So, that's it, Joe?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Takes us to zoning, Mr. Farrar.
Thank you, sir. The first item on the agenda is the monthly report.
Can we get one for our part?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's,
Doesn't that look cozy?
Yeah.
Living at home right
I
now.
expect
Trustee Lino's home.
Yeah, it is.
Some wine inside.
Pasta.
Smoker sitting
Yeah.
out back. Is James trying to capture the,
Any questions?
Well,
Okay.
don't get used to that. The next one's gonna have a stick figure on
A
it.
whole bunch of ice on the road. Okay, number 2.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution to reappoint Ian Crawford to the Plain Township Board of Zoning Commission for a 5-year term commencing January 1, 2019 and expiring December 31, 2023.
so moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion.
I think it's just important to note, he's been well-respected and I think very effective.
Yes.
Remember the board, we've had some dynamics over the years where we've had to sort of upgrade these boards, but he's been
It's very good.
Yeah, we're just happy.
Steady, steady.
so
Yeah,
quality representation there.
I agree. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Number 3.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution to appoint Angela Elder to the Plain Township Board of Zoning Commission for 5-year term commencing January 1, 2019, expiring December 31, 2023. And this is for the alternate spot.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion.
Sorry. This is for the alternate spot where we had a resignation because of,
But can we just note that in the actual text of that it's for the alternate?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tom, is that okay? Sure. Okay.
The item number 4 on the agenda.
Yeah, we haven't
Oh, we haven't voted.
Yeah, anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Now we can go to,
Item number 4 on the agenda is a resolution to reappoint Robert Souls to the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals for a 5-year term commencing January 1, 2019 and expiring December 31, 2023.
So moved.
been moved and seconded, discussion. Same issue here.
Robert Souls is
Yeah,
going to
same-
be a
same
mainstay
issue.
on that board.
I think with his law practice too, and how much he gets into construction, residential, that is a good value out there.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And item number 5 is a resolution to appoint Tia Cernava to the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals for the 5-year term commencing January 1, 2019, expiring December 31, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Same thing if you can add an
Yeah,
alternate.
same thing, alternate.
We have to add an
Yeah,
alternate to that.
same thing. Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 6 on the agenda is a resolution for this board to set a public hearing for text changes in the zoning resolution.
So moved.
Second's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
On December 12th, 2018, the zoning commission conducted a public hearing on text amendments, on 4 text amendments. 1, limiting the placement of commercial dumpsters and roll-off containers. Number 2, adding the definition of commercial dumpster and roll-off containers. Number 3, limiting the placement of donation collection bins. Number 4, adding the definition of a donation collection bin. At that meeting, the zoning commission recommended the text changes to this board of trustees.
Roll call?
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that's all for zoning.
Next on, that takes us to parks, and as we stated earlier, Mr. Steinberg is excused tonight, so.
Yeah, I'll be doing his report tonight. And you have his monthly report. I do want to point out a couple of things that I think are very important. They began a 7-8-year-old rec league for soccer, and they're at an all-time high there with registration. Also began a new high school co-ed league, totally sold out. It's the largest co-ed league in Stark County. And we have an all-time high for indoor soccer 1 this time around, even higher than when the dome collapsed and we had all the business. So they've even sold practice to Walsh University men's soccer, and some sort of, the Gladiators semi-pro football team practice. So there's no more time that can be sold or funds raised. We're at capacity because people don't practice at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So, but up until that point, we are sold out. So very nice job by the Parks Department. And I just want to also point out the Winterfest picture that you'll see the wood carver where we have a new club because we all bought them out of his parties.
Except for me.
Well, yeah.
Don't worry, Santa will bring you something, John.
Yeah, you never know what Santa could bring you.
See you guys are cutting any
Yeah.
gold.
That's the end of the Parks report.
That's a classic.
Thank you. No communications, nothing from the law director, no communications. That takes us to the part of the meeting. Public speaks. If there's anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board, please feel free to do that. But if you would speak, please give your name and address to the fiscal officer for the record. You can do it from there if you want,
Wherever you're comfortable.
wherever you're comfortable.
I have a cold, so I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
My name is Gina Bowers. I live at 2420 Captain Street. And I wanted to come and thank all of you for all your hard work, and all the leaders in Plain Township that couldn't be here tonight, all the law enforcement, fire department, everyone. This has just been the best year. I've lived my whole life. This has been wonderful. All the activities you guys are all out at. I see all of you there. So thank you so much for being there, and it just means a lot. I'm representing Diamond Park neighborhood and sharing just that this is their feedback as well. So thank you for all that you do. Conversely, in regards to Plain Township Pass, I have a concern with 7995 Middle Branch, which is the address of the property on the soccer fields, which is the old red house at the corner of Middle Branch and Diamond that you guys might pass. It's the 2-story home owned by Mr. Caplia. And I know that there's a lot of history there, but it's something that I have a concern about because I believe right now it's one of the oldest properties in all of Plain Township. And it is, I toured it on Sunday, and I'm nervous if we wait much longer on it that we're going to lose that property. It could be extinct. So I just wanted to get your guys' feedback on it, put it on your radar. I'm gonna continue to talk with the Historical Society about it and just get more ideas, just because I know that it's kind of stuck right now and where it is, but just because of vandalism and things like that, it's in pretty poor shape, it needs some care, so just wanted to get your feedback on that.
Well, I can tell you, within the last 12 months, I don't know if the entire board was in there all at once, but we've been in the facility, we've toured it, we're familiar, I mean, it's historical. The challenge we're in, as much as we all, I think it's safe to say, all of us would love just to be able to say, hey, we can buy this and we can, you know, get it into the Historical Society's hands to preserve. With the parks currently, there's, you know, it's always been user fees. There's no funding source from a parks levy to say, hey, the parks can acquire it. Or even if you look at historical, some of our major acquisitions, essentially all of the park grounds were done through estate tax dollars. Some of them have been developed as well through grants, you know, hotel bed tax, cable franchise, tax fee increases. And to boot, our challenge has been, as much as the Historical Society has been great partners with the township, we house them right in here. One of the old adages of it's always easier to spend somebody else's money. I mean, hey, what can you guys do? And Joe has actually even said when we toured it that, hey, I'd be willing, if there was something to be able to be worked out within the township, I'd probably let it go for this versus if it was just private. The challenge is in good faith, I can't take township resources to put into it, because obviously, as you've toured, you've seen the money for which we would buy it for, we're almost looking at twice as much just to get it to the functional aesthetics and so forth. So I know the Historical Society at one point, and I'm not gonna quote a time, had tried reaching out to some historical preservationists to see what they'd be getting into. And I know they do their fundraisers and so forth to try to raise money, but collectively, we're nowhere near that point. I mean, there could probably be other options if somebody wanted to try pursuing a capital campaign of some type, but given really our primary responsibilities for the Ohio Revised Code with safety services, roads, zoning, and so forth, not that it's taken a back burner, but really, where can that capital come from? Because, you know, one of the things we have, just because of traffic that's in and out of there, and the sheriffs do a great job of patrolling overall, but swooping back in, you know, you see a broken window on occasion. I know when we were in there were some of those walls, I mean, been spray painted, because it was probably 2 to 3 years ago, there was actually some folks that did rent and lived in it for a while, but then that sort of went the wrong way, because even like there's 2 outbuildings there. As neat as those are, honestly, you don't, you know, salvage those. Those are a level and rebuild just because of the age of the material. So, what's that?
The Historical Society said those buildings are more historic than the.
Correct.
Than the house.
The house.
The
You're
largest.
right, though, it's a shame, but they're.
Yeah, that first outbuilding behind it is the true home from 1820 that they would stay in while the other house was being built.
Yep.
Now, it is about to fall over, but that is probably the oldest structure in Plain Township right now. So I'm gonna continue to work on it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
One time we thought of having the Glen Oak
Because it was gonna be under, I thought it was number 2, it was number 2 that he had.
wood shop, have them come over.
That's what I was thinking about, partnering with Glen Oak, having the students do
It's
some.
still maybe open, but we did one time talk to someone there.
Yeah, but if you do it like that,
Because it's
you can't get a
historical.
preservation grant, because when you have a preservation grant, you have to restore it in a very specific manner to a specific level.
Yep.
And it's very expensive and very time consuming. but it would be great somehow to have a capital campaign to buy it and then as a community
Yes.
Floor
rebuild
plan
it.
layout's needed, I just gotta
Yeah.
say, I didn't care for going up the steps because how short the hand.
I know.
That's a phobia falling over
Yeah.
those.
Kitchen upstairs, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so yeah, I appreciate your feedback about the grants. I looked into that. Because of some restrictions with townships, we couldn't be a certified local government, which is fine because it's scarce grants anyways, and we would never fulfill the requirements, there's not enough money for that. So
You
yeah,
know
it's
what?
something else, but,
I know.
so,
You know what I think?
Yeah.
All right.
I
We'll talk
appreciate
about
that,
that.
you guys so much.
By the way, thank you so much for those opening remarks. You know, we're extremely fortunate here. I mean, we do have a certain amount of things that we do to create that culture, but you have to have good people to be able to work that culture. And, you know, just as an example, I started the meeting talking about our swearing in for our lieutenants, and we had a packed house. And as a matter of fact, guys in the back, I had a couple people say, this is really nice with all the representation here, including your department heads and the sheriffs
Yeah.
and everything else. So don't think for one second that all those other people didn't see that as well. For all of you and you guys as well. And we know that's just the support. So thank you for noticing that and saying that.
Thank you.
And anybody else? Okay, that takes us to the approval of minutes for December 11th, so I will move on that approval of minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And it appears we do not have a need for an executive session, so I will move for adjournment at 6:52.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.